So let's start this session. I have explained you how to set up this DVWA for practicing different type of attacks on any web application. So I hope you have all must be configured this DVWA. Today we will be covering some attacks on DVWA and also learn about this banner grabbing and OS printing. So whenever you start your DVWA login page appear, you have to write here the default username and password, that is admin, and the password is password. So let's begin. So first of all, we will see the what are the options which are given in this DVWA, damn vulnerable web application. In DVWA, it has given different level according to the expertise of hacker, right? So if you are a mastermind hacker or you are an expert hacker, you can do each and every attack on impossible level also, right? But as we are beginners and we are learning, right? So we can select this low security level and I will click submit. To ensure that whether you are in low security level, you have to go to the bottom of this website and please check here. You have to check here whether the security level is low or not, right? If it is showing it is low, then it means it is okay. You can perform, you are ready to perform any attack in the low security level. So we'll come back to home page, right? So the first attack which is listed in DVWA is brute force attack. So in brute force attack, you all must be aware what is brute force. It is a brute force attack means it is a hit and trial method, right? So if someone is knowing username and password, then he will definitely able to log in. Like I want to log in with the username admin and password is password. So I'm entering the correct username password. So it must allow me to log in. So when I will click on login, you can see here it is saying that welcome to the password protected area admin. That is, I have logged in as a admin, right? So I have logged in as a admin because I have entered correct username password. But if I am a hacker, right? If I am a hacker, I may not be not knowing the username and password. So I will try to do brute force on this login portal. So in brute force, I will be entering different combination of username and password, and I will keep trying. So it is not feasible to manually do this brute force. So in brute force, I have to enter different username and password combination each time. So manually, it is not feasible to enter so many username and password, right? So we will be using some attaching method which will automatically perform different username and password combination, and it will keep them entering in this login, and it will keep submitting this form. So for that we will be using a framework which is called BobSuit, right? So BobSuit is a framework which is being used for different penetration testing techniques, and also it is having many useful tools. So BobSuit is proprietary software, and it is having some paid version also. But for demonstration purpose, we will be using community version. Though it is having some less feature, but we will be able to demonstrate using this community version, right? So I have given you the link to download and install BobSuit. It is just exe file. You have to just download and just click on next. You will be able to install this BobSuit. So I'll be taking the help of BobSuit to perform this brute force attack, right? So for that, firstly I have to download and install BobSuit. So I'm going to start this BobSuit here. So now my Bob suit is started, right? So which feature I'm going to use? I'm going to use this proxy interception, right? So this proxy feature having the power to intercept all the requests, all HTTP requests which are being made on this on any browser. So for that, I have to configure my web browser so that it will forward the HTTP request to this Bob suit, and parallelly I also have to configure my Bob suit so that it will be able to intercept all the requests from that web browser, right? So let me show you how to configure this, right? So firstly, you have to go to this proxy tab in Bob suit. In the option field, you will find it is when you install the Bob suit, by default it will add this proxy setting in this proxy option. This is called proxy listener. Here you can add multiple IP addresses from which whenever a request arrives it will intercept. So by default 127.0.0.1 and port 8080, it is intercepting from this IP address and this port. 127.0.0.1, it is a loop back IP address. It is used when you are working as, yes, in the terms of networking, you can say it is a loop back IP address. If you are working in a client server architecture and you are acting as both, your system is acting as a client as well as your system is working as a server, then in that case you can use this 127.0.0.1. The domain name which is related to this IP is your local host. Yes. So I have configured my Bob suit to add any proxy listener IP address. You can click on add and you can write here. You have to add the port and you have to specify the address, right? Whatever the IP address is which is connected to your this network. So I have configured, by default it will come when you install the Bob suit. By default this IP address will come. So I'm not going to alter this. What I will do, I will use same IP address and same port on my web browser. So let's move to the web browser setting. This is the proxy setting in Bob suit. Now let's move to the proxy setting of my web browser. Now I have to set my proxy setting in my web browser. So let's go to the setting, browser setting. In option field, you will find the advanced tab. In advanced tab, you will have to go to the network setting, right? Once you are in the network setting, you will get these options: no proxy, auto detect proxy, use system proxy, use manual proxy, right? So we are going to use this manual proxy. In manual proxy, what I will write? I will write same IP address, which the IP address I have configured in Bob suit. The same IP address I will write here, and the same port number I will enter here, right? And make sure that in this text window which is coming with this option, manual proxy configuration option, so make sure that it is clear, because sometimes though you have written your IP address here, it will not able to intercept. Why? Because sometimes it may be written here localhost. So now you can understand what you are saying. You are saying that Bob suit to capture this request and do not capture this request. So it is contradictory. So make sure that in manual proxy setting, this text box is clear. Right? If anything is written here like localhost or anything localhost DBWA, so you have to clear this, right? Once you set this manual proxy, you will click on OK button. Now my Firefox is configured, and whatever the request it will be sending, it will be redirected or routed through this proxy setting, right? So now setting is completed. Now I have to just give a command to this Bob suit so that it will be able to intercept. So how we can tell the Bob suit to intercept? We will go to the Bob suit, and in proxy header, so this proxy menu, I have to go to this intercept tab. On intercept tab, when I will go to intercept tab, I will find a button which is saying that intercept is currently off. So just I have to click on intercept is on. That's it. Now my Bob suit is ready to intercept whatever the request is coming from my Mozilla browser, right? So I'm going to perform some brute force attack. So I will write here admin or anything we can write. I will write just ABCD. I will write here, right? ABCD, and password I am writing here ABCD. And when I will click here login, so it will automatically come to your Bob suite. You can see here initially this field was clear, there is nothing was here, but as soon as I have submitted this, you can add it, you can find that this page is not being processed, it is still rotating. Why it is rotating? Because whatever the request we have made by clicking this login button is not processed yet. Why? Because it was captured by this Bob suite, and Bob suite has captured it. Unless Bob suite will not allow to pass this request will keep rotating and keep processing. So if you do not want to do anything with this request, you can just click on this forward button. When you will click on forward button, the request will be forwarded to the server of DBWA, and here you can get the message that username or password is incorrect because we have entered wrong username and password. But now we are going to play with this intercepted request. So what I will do, I will again write here ABCD, and I will click on login button. So again it is captured by this Bob suite has intercepted, right, my request, and you can find here it is already rotating and it is not being processed. So now I am going to play with this intercepted request, right? So what I will do, I can find here the whatever the username I have entered is written here, and the password I have entered is written here, right? So what I have to do, I have to click on right button. You can note the steps, right, and you can perform yourself. Otherwise, I am also recording this video, and I'll be sharing the link for this video. But it will take time. It will take at least 1 week time after this FTP is over, because too much editing I have to done, because throughout the recording is going on since morning to evening. So I have to segregate it session wise. Then I will upload in our YouTube, and I will provide you the link. For practice, you can note down the steps. So I will right click on this window, and I will click on send to intruder module. Intruder is again a module like proxy. So I will click on send to intruder. Now this intruder module will be highlighted. You will find here these are the different modules. So this intruder module is highlighted. I will go to intruder module, and I will click here in the position tab. So I will go to the position tab. Here I will find whatever the request we have captured in proxy is forwarded to intruder module, right? When I will inside the intruder, I will go to the position. In position, I have to tell the Bob suite what are the positions on which and how many positions are there on which Bob suite should perform this brute force attack. So firstly, I will have to clear all the positions, and then I will set this username. I will select this username supplied by the page, right? Why I am clearing this this dollar sign? Because when you intercept this request, it may be possible this dollar sign may be with the cookies and sessions, maybe it will be appended. So what will happen if you will not clear, it will count these many fields to perform the brute force attack. So in the payload, it will ask multiple fields. We are performing brute force on only 2 positions, that is username and password. We have nothing to do with this cookies. So when I have captured this request, this dollar sign was with captured cookies and the session data also. That is why I have cleared this all this dollar sign. Now I have to specifically mention that what are the fields on which brute force attack to be performed. So I will select this username field. I will click on add. I will select password. I will perform add. Why I am clicking add? Because by clicking this add, it will be appending dollar sign in the beginning and at the end. Now by making it, I am saying this Bob suite that you have to perform brute force on this field only. Only these field you have to perform attack, right? So after adding this, right, I will click cluster bomb. Cluster bomb is a method which will perform this brute force attack by generating multiple combinations of different username and password. So I will select this cluster bomb. After selecting this cluster bomb, I will go to the payload. I will go to the payload option. Here in payload, I have to specify some well-known username and password, right? So we are having only two positions. Which two positions? The first position was username and second position was password. So we are having only two positions. So in the payload, it will show you two payload set, 1 and 2. 1 is meant for your username and 2 is meant for your password. When I will select payload set 1, here I have to give some well-known username and password, because as a hacker I am not knowing what is the correct username password. So it is a hit and trial method. It is a hit and trial method, but automated hit and trial method, right? So I have to give some well-known or set of username or set of password to this Bob suit, and Bob's rest of the work, that is making the pairwise effort of making the pairwise login, it is the duty of Bob suit. So I have to select firstly payload set 1, that is for username. Here I have to write the possible username which can be used. So I am writing here administrator. I am not knowing what is the correct username and password, but I am taking it as a hit and trial. So I am giving administrator, admin. I am here writing admin. I am writing admin 123. So I have given different username, right? In this way we can give a set of different well-known username, right? Then I have to select second field, that is password. So I will select payload set 2. Now I have to give it the set of password which can be possible, right? So 4 username I have entered. Now I am going to give it some 3 or 4 well-known password also. So I am giving it pass. I am giving it pwd. I am giving it pass wd. I am giving password. So out of this set of username and password, it is now duty of Bob suit to detect which is the correct pair of username and password. So if suppose you have not given any correct username and password in this set, then definitely the Bob suit this brute force attack is going to be fail, right? So the both set of username and set of password must contain some valid pair of username and password. So definitely a question will be coming in your mind, sir, it is always not possible to enter so many username and password. So for that you can find on internet, you just search on Google the well-known set of username and password. You will find you can find a file which will be containing lakhs of well-known username and lakhs of password, right? So what you have to do, you have to just download that text file and you just have to give the that complete list of username and password to this Bob suit. For this you have to just give the file path. You have to download that file from internet, and you can directly upload. You can directly upload that file containing default username and password. You can directly upload to this payload set, and for that definitely you must be having the paid version, the pro version of Bob suit. You can find here. Just see my mouse, my cursor. I am pointing here. It is showing that add from the list. If you do not want to enter this username and password manually one by one, you can directly import a list. But this facility is only with the pro version, that is paid version. Currently, I am using this free version, so it is not having that facility. So till now, what we have done? Till now, we have done. Firstly, we have done proxy setting for browser, then proxy setting for Bob suit, then we have intercepted request entered by username and by user as a username and password into Bob suit. After intercepting that request, I have forwarded to the intruder module. In the intruder module, I have identified what are the positions on which I have to perform the brute force attack. So I have identified only two positions. One is username and second is password. Next, what I have done. I have selected the attack type, which was the cluster bomb attack, and then I am inside this payload option. I am giving the different payload. Payload in the hacking world, payload is known as the injected code. Whatever the code or whatever the text which are being used for performing attack will be counted as payload, right? So it is a very common name in the this hacking area, payload, right? So payload means you are giving some unwanted text or a script or any set of characters using which you are going to hack anything, right? So I have given payload, two types of payload. First is for username and second is for password. Now we have done with all the settings. I have to click on start attack. So see what is going to be happen. I will be clicking on start attack. So this message is coming because you are using demo version of Boxroot in all that. So I will ignore this, and it is now started the attack. Now you can see here how fast it is attacking. It is always not possible manually that you will enter the username and then you will enter password and try, and you will keep trying it and trial. So it is doing very fast, and in very few seconds it has made 16 different combinations because I have entered 4 username and 4 password. So how many combinations can be made using username and password? 16 combinations can be made. So in very few seconds it has performed all the combinations. You can see here from 1 to 16 you can find here different it has tried. Now I have to identify for which pair of username and password the login was successful. So to identify that, I have to go to this length of the packet. So it is showing that 4700 continuously it is saying that 4700, right? One entry I have found other than 4700, only one entry, that is 4743. All the entries is having 4700, right? And this entry, that is 4743 entry, I have found only one entry I have found which is different with the other. So with respect to this entry, I am going to see what are the possible combinations. It has made the combination using admin and password. So now we have cracked this username password, because we all are knowing that the correct username was admin, a correct password was password, right? So Boxroot has detected the correct username and password, right? So in this way we can by using this brute force we can able to guess the username and password. Then just to show you, I am going to show you that how we can assure that this is a correct username password, right? Because in this case we are knowing that the correct username was admin and password is password. But suppose we are not known to the actual username password. So the only thing we are having is this length. So once I will find this length which is other than the which is differ with the others. So what I will do, I will click on this, right? I will click on this and I will go to the response tab. Here is the response tab. In response tab, if you scroll down, you will find this message: welcome to the password protected admin area. It means the brute force attack was successful and we are inside the admin area. If you want to have the graphical interface of this area, you have to just click on this render button. When you will click on render button, what it will show, let me show you. It is showing that the login was successful with this username and password, and it is showing that you have successfully logged into the system and now you are having this correct username and password, right? So we have cracked this username and password using brute force attack. So I hope it is clear to all of you. Next I am going to demonstrate you this command injection. So in the command injection, this command injection is basically meant for OS command injection. Also have OS command injection, we can give some commands to operating system also, the operating system of the victim system. Suppose you are a attacker, and there is a victim system, so you can give instruction to the operating system of victim machine to perform some unwanted operations, or to run the some unwanted set of instructions, right? So how to perform this? So to perform this attack, I need two different machines, right? One is attacker and another is victim. So in VMware, I have installed two different distribution of Linux operating system. One is Metasploitable and another is Kali Linux. So I will come to the Metasploitable also. Metasploitable is also a Linux distribution, a small, very small Linux distribution, and which is very vulnerable operating, you can say, distribution. It is having different types of vulnerabilities, and hackers or learners can use it and exploit it, right, to get the knowledge about different type of attack. So I have installed this Kali Linux. I am going to start this Kali. I have already shared you the instruction manual to install this all the lab setup. So I have installed three machines. One is my physical machine, which I was showing that. Another I have installed this Kali, and next I have installed this Metasploitable. So I am going to just demonstrate this command injection. So to perform command injection, what I will do, I will run the browser in the Kali. Right. Now I have run the browser. Before that, I just want to show you that IP addresses. What are the IP addresses which are allocated to my physical machine as well as my Kali, right? So to check my IP address of my physical machine, so I can check my IP address. So you can see here the IP address of my physical machine is 43.3, 192.168, 43.3. Let's check the IP address of Kali. What is the IP address is allocated to the Kali? So my Kali has been allocated a IP address called 192.168.43.6. So it means that my this DVWA website can be accessed from any machine which is available in this network. .43.3 DVWA. So now you can see I am accessing my physical machine's web server from different machine. This is a Kali machine, right? And Kali is having different IP address. I am accessing my physical machine from my Kali machine, right? So this is the attacker machine. Now this is the attacker machine, and my physical machine becomes victim machine, right? So from attacker machine, I am accessing this site, the victim site I am accessing, right? So what I will do, I will just try to log in. So I am inside this login area. What I will do, first I will set this security level to low. I will set it to low. After setting it to low, whatever I am performing from attacker side, and what I am accessing the victim site, the site or web application which is running on the victim web server, right? So I am accessing that website from sitting on different machine, right? So I have set this security to low level, right? Now I will go to the command injection. Command injection, Firstly, I will try to ping. So I will try to ping 192.168.43.3. So once I will enter the IP address of victim machine, it is showing that victim machine is accessible and it is returning the reply of the ping. So I have sent the ping request and it is sending the ping reply. So now it is clear that the victim machine is fully connected with me and I can play with the victim machine. So what I will do, let's try some command injection. So first command that I'd like to inject is this net user command, right? So with net user command, you must be knowing that in Windows machine, in Windows operating system, to uh, get to know about the different users account which is existing on your Windows machine, you will be using a command called net user. So you will find the command prompt. You will just go to your command prompt in Windows, and if you type there net user, it will show you all the users which are existing in your laptop or your computer, right? So what I am doing, sitting remotely as a attacker, I want to know what are the users, what is the user's account which is existing on this victim machine. So what I will do, I will write the victim IP address here and then net user. Then I will submit. See what is happening. Now attacker will able to know that at the victim there are these much different accounts is there. First is admin, administrator, Arun, guest, right? So these are the accounts which are user account which are available in the victim machine. So let me show how to know whether it is correct or not. So let me show you. I will go to my physical machine one second. In physical machine, I will go to the control panel. In control panel, I will go to the change an account setting. Here you can find different accounts. This is administrator account, Arun account, and guest. There are three accounts which is existing on my physical machine. But hacker sitting remotely on different machines can able to know what are the accounts available on my machine. This is called command injection, OS command injection. That is by sitting on different geographical location, different machines, hacker is able to know. Hacker will be able to know what are the user's account which is available on this machine. And how it was possible? Because of this vulnerability called command injection. Because the services which are running on the victim machine is vulnerable. How the attacker get this idea to inject this command? Because he has tested that DVWA is running on victim machine, and DVWA must be having some vulnerability, right? So he will try to exploit this vulnerability. So what you will do, if you are accessing any website, right, and if you know that this website is having problem or vulnerability of command injection, so sitting at your home, you can give any command to operating system, the web server, and you can do anything. So next command I would like to just show you is this. You can see here what I am going to do here. I will be writing here the IP address of victim machine. I have written 192.168.43.3. This is the IP address of victim machine. Victim machines means the machine on which the website is running, the server on which the website is running. In this case, what are the victims? Victims are the web servers on which the website is running, right? So our ultimate goal to hack the web server, to hack the website, and through hacking the website, we will be able to hack the web server, right? So if the website running on the web server is having this vulnerability, we can use this type of OS command, right? So what I am going to do, I am going to give the address of victim machine and separated by and MS Paint. MS Paint means Microsoft Paint. So by issuing this command, I will try to open the pent. I will try to open the pent on the victim's machine. So when I will click on submit, see what is happening. When I will click on submit, a pent will be open in my machine, in my physical machine. It is just like that. By sitting in Chandigarh, I will be able to open a pent in your system, and you are sitting in the Maharashtra, right? This is all about this command injection. So we have discussed the brute force attack and this command injection attack. So the next topic which I am going to cover, this is your banner grabbing, you can say, or information footprinting, right? So what do you mean by this banner grabbing? Banner grabbing or OS fingerprinting, or you can say information footprinting, is a method to determine the operating system, details of our operating system, the software versions which are running on the remote or target machines, right? So by using this banner grabbing is a very much initial step of hacking, right? So before performing any type of attack on victim machine, attacker will always perform this banner grabbing, right? So in banner grabbing, he will be able to take each and every information about the victim's machine, right? He can have idea about the operating system version, what are the services which are running on this victim machine or target machines, what are the ports which are available or which are open in the on the victim machines. If some vulnerable port is open, like you must be heard about this telnet. Telnet is a very dangerous, you can say, service, and if it is running and it is open, right? So anyone can access your machine by using the telnet if he is having username and password, right? So it is always recommended to put your telnet off, right? So if this type of services is running on victim machine, so the information about this type of services can only be known to the hackers by using this banner grabbing, right? So identifying the OS used on the target host allows the attacker to figure out the vulnerability the system poses, right? And he or she can exploit that vulnerability, right? So to start with this banner grabbing, this is the commands which are used by Nmap. Nmap is a set of you can say command set which is available with most of the Linux distribution, right? So if your Linux distribution or Linux machine is not having Nmap, so you can install this Nmap by using apt-get install, right? So Nmap will only run on Linux distribution, right? So I am going to use this Nmap on the my Kali. So I have installed, or by default when you install this Kali or Metasploitable, this Nmap will automatically be pre-installed with this Kali or Metasploitable, right? So Nmap is a package, you can say set a package of or set of you can say commands, right, which can be used for banner grabbing, right? So let me start this Metasploitable also. So what this Metasploitable is? Metasploitable is again a Linux distribution which is having several kind of vulnerabilities inside it, right? And hackers or learners can use this vulnerability to practice. And the interesting feature the Metasploitable is having is it is available, or it is having pre-installed DBWA. So if someone is finding some problems or some you can say some errors by installing DBWA, alternatively they can install this Metasploitable in their virtual machine, and your Metasploitable comes with pre-installed DBWA. So now Metasploitable is started, and the default username and password is written here. You can see here I am sharing my desktop. You all must be able to see. Login with MSF admin and MSF admin. So username is also MSF admin and password is also MSF admin. So we have started this Metasploitable, right? So services of Metasploitable is on. So I have told you that this Metasploitable by default comes with pre-installed DBWA. So let me check the IP address of this Metasploitable. What is the IP address allocated to this Metasploitable? To get the IP address of this Metasploitable, you have to write ifconfig. So you can see here, uh, you can see here the IP address which is allocated to Metasploitable is 192.168.5, right? So it is also on the same network. My physical machine was having the IP address 43.3. The Kali was having the IP address of 43.7, and the Metasploitable is having the IP address of 43.5. So all these machines are on same network, right? So to check whether this Metasploitable is running or not, I will go to this Kali machine and I will start my Mozilla. Here I will write 192.168.43. What was the IP address? 5. So you can see here I am calling the web service running on Metasploitable from the Kali, right? So I have entered this 192.168.43.5. So now I am able to see this, that Metasploitable is running a web server on it. And what are the facility or what are the pre-installed software this Metasploitable is having? You can find here. DBWA is pre-installed, PHPMyAdmin is pre-installed, this multi-layered installed, WebDev installed. So we were working with DBWA, so I can run DBWA. So you can see DBWA is pre-installed on Metasploitable, and nothing we have to install. We can just we can run our Metasploitable, and every this type of attack which is listed in DBWA I can perform here. So just I have shown you that if you are getting any problem in installing DBWA, then you can use this Metasploitable. So by installing Metasploitable, you will be able to use this DBWA, right? So DBWA is running on my Metasploitable. You can able to see this IP address. This IP address is for Metasploitable. You can see here 43.5 is IP address of Metasploitable. So now come to our topic. So now the topic of this session is banner grabbing. So we were discussing about banner grabbing. So for banner grabbing, I will use the command nmap, right? So what I will write, nmap 192.168.43.5. This IP address is for Metasploitable. So now I am going to scan. The nmap is network mapping, network scanning. It is a basically network scanning tool, right? So nmap will scan throughout this machine, which is Metasploitable 192.168.43.5. So I will hit enter. So it will show you that these are the ports or services which are running on the victim machine. In this case, attacker is Kali and victim is Metasploitable. Metasploitable is victim machine and attacking machine is Kali, right? So from attacking machine, I want to explore what are the ports which is open on victim machine and what are the services which are running on this victim machine. So what I have done nmap 192.168.43.5. By doing this, and when I will hit enter, it will show you that these are the ports which are open. You can find here FTP is open, SSH, Telnet is also open. You can see here Telnet is also open on this Metasploitable. So this is very dangerous. SMTP, these are the common ports. Cell is open, right? So it has shown me what are the ports which are open on this machine. So to exploit, suppose I want to exploit this Telnet. So what I will write? I will write Telnet 192.168.43.5. So you can see by sitting at the attacker end, I will be able to log into the Metasploitable. Metasploitable is different machine situating at different location, but from attacker side only, I will be able to access, and it is asking for username and password. Suppose I have, if any mean I am able to crack the username and password, so I can log into the system. I can MSF admin, because here it is already mentioned that the username is admin and password is admin. So I do not have to put any effort for guessing the username and password. I will just write MSF admin. So now I am, from sitting at Kali, I am able to log into the Metasploitable. Now from here I can launch any type of attack, or I can perform any type of unwanted actions, right? That is the conclusion is that I am able to access remotely the system, right? So how it was done, because with the help of Nmap, I was able to find what are the ports which is open on Metasploitable. So you might be thinking that why you have chosen for Metasploitable, because I do not want to exploit my physical machine, because my physical machine is having various my confidential data or files. So that is why I have chosen Metasploitable, right? So Metasploitable is meant for only this type of things, so that you can perform this type of attack and you can exploit this system. So it is not necessary that you have to be in the local network. You can do it on the public network also, if they have not filtered this type of command, because most of the smart firewalls have filtered this Nmap type of command, right? So let's move further. So next command in banner grabbing, next command I would like to show, that is Nmap st, Nmap st command, right? Nmap st command will be able to scan throughout the subnet, right? So it will scan throughout the subnet. So I will write here 192.168.43. So this is the address of my network, right? So the IP address of my, that is attacker machine, is 192.168.43.7. So I can easily know what is the address of my network, right? So I will write here network address. I have written here the network address, that is complete subnet, and slash 24. Slash 24 means I am going to make this command works for all the systems which are available on this network, including, you can say, the gateway, right? So it will scan all 255 machines. It will scan. It will also scan the gateway also, right? So when I will click on the and hit enter, it will it will start scanning throughout the subnet, right? And in complete subnet, it will scan what are the systems, or what are the machines which are currently power on, and if the machine is power off, it definitely it will not going to detect, right? So if it will scan throughout the subnet, and it will list all the machines IP address and their MAC addresses which are currently running. So you can see here, after scanning, it is showing that Nmap scan reported 192.168.43.1. It is running. It is my gateway. In this case, this is my, you can say, my this hotspot, right? My router is there, 43.1. Then, and it is showing the IP address and MAC address of my router, my hotspot, right? Secondly, it is showing that 43.2 is also running, 43.3 is also running. 43.3 was for which machines this IP was? This IP was for my physical machine, my Windows machine, on which I am interacting with you. So you can see here, it is showing that Nmap scan started, and 43.3 is having MAC address Intel Corporation. So this IP address or this MAC address is of my Windows machine. I can show you the IP address on and MAC address of my physical machine. From here I can show you that. Just let me show. So from here when I will click detail, you can see here the IP address of my physical machine is 43.3 and the MAC address. Where is the MAC address? MAC address 80.80/86F2. So this IP address is only being displayed on this Kali. You can say here 80:86F271. So it is showing the MAC address of my physical machine because my physical machine is connected to this network only. This network only. It is showing me the detail of my physical machine. Then next it is showing that 43.5 is also running, right? It is my that Metasploit table. Metasploit table was having this IP address 43.5 and last it is showing that 43.7. So I am able to scan throughout the subnet. 43.3.1 is my gateway. 43.2 is it is showing that 43.2 is also alive and it is Amazon basically Amazon Alexa is running in my home and which is also connected to this network only. That is why it is showing that this Amazon AI device is connected. So next it is showing my laptop. This is showing Metasploit table. So all the devices which are connected to my hotspot or my network, it is showing their IP address and MAC address. So it is also a part of information fingerprinting or information footprinting, right? So next command I'd like to show you Nmap SV. So Nmap SV, it is meant for listing down all the services and their you can say operating system name of details of operating system, the services which are running on particular machine, host name. So in this case, because it is intended for a particular machine, I have to write the IP address of that machine only 192.168.43.5, right? So it will be scanning on my Metasploit table. So you can see here the IP address of my Metasploit table is 43.5 and currently I am scanning about this 43.5. A scan is completed here, right? So a scan has started and a scan is now completed. So what are the details? It is showing that about the victim machine, it is showing that victim machine is having this all port open, this all services running, and also it is giving version. Earlier when I have just written nmap 192.168.43.5, so it has shown me only the port and services. Now it is also showing the version, right? And it is very useful for the hackers. If hackers is able to know what are the versions of the software which is being used, which are being used on the victim machine, then they can play with that services, right? Because yesterday I have told you in the introductory part that if you are using some outdated version of software on your system, then they can take advantage of this type of vulnerability, this common known vulnerability, right? So this nmap command is used to get the information about all the services, their version. So you can say it is showing that Apache is running, right? Apache version 1.3 is running, right? MySQL is also running there, right? Apache Tomcat is running, Samba is running. These all services are running, and it is also showing that the operating system which is running on the victim machine is Debian distribution of Ubuntu, right? Debian Ubuntu distribution of Linux, right? So it is also giving the idea about the operating system. So suppose I apply this command on my physical machine, what will happen? My physical machine is having IP address of 43.3. So it has started. So sometime it will take too long time depending upon the number of services or number of ports which are running or which are open on your target machine. it will may take time, right? So let it be running parallelly. When this result will be available, I will show you. So parallelly I am going to run some more command. I will going to show you some more command of nmap. So the next command is the port range, to show the details about some specific range of ports. So if I want to gain information about some specific ports which are a specific port of the target machine. Suppose I want to check whether FTP is running on or Telnet is running on my target machine or not. So I'm not going to scan throughout the machine, right? So I will take the selective port numbers to get the information. For that, I will use nmap 192.168.43.5, and I will specify here the port range, that is P. Suppose I want to scan through the port 25 to port 150. So I want to scan through 25 to 150. So when I will hit enter, it will start scanning from port 25 to port 150, and in between whatever the services are running, it will show the list of services which are running on this port, right? Till it was running. Now the next command which we can use, that if I want to know, I want to know that whether a particular port, suppose I want to check whether the particular port is port 80 on which system in the entire subnet, on which system this port 80 is open, right? So for that I can use this command nmap 192.168.43.0. So I'm going to scan through this subnet, right? And what I'm going to scan through the subnet, I'm going to scan for port 80. For port 80 I'm going to scan, right? So it will scan through this subnet and it will tell me that on which system this port 80 is open, right? So firstly it will showing that on 43.1 port is host is up and port 80 is running here, TCP is running here, port 80 HTTP is running here. Similarly for 43.2, the Amazon device, port 80 is filtered, because obviously this Amazon device do not have to do with anything with the port 80, because port 80 is intended for HTTP and this is the AI device, so it is nothing have to do with this port 80, so it has been filtered. Next it is about my physical system, because in my physical system a web server is running, so port 80 is open. So this is how it is showing that for each machine whether the port 80 is running on again on this metasploitable web server is running, so it is showing that port 80 is running on this port 43.5. So in this way we can able to identify what are the ports and what are the systems on which a particular port is open, right? So next command is to check what are the common vulnerabilities which are available, on the victim machine. So I can use this command nmap cn script. So again it is a long command which will take some time. So let me check whether my earlier command has been executed. Yes, the earlier command was executed. What command I have run? I have run this command services version on my physical machine. Now you can able to see what are the services which is running my actual system or my laptop. So it is showing that Microsoft Windows operating system is running, right? And Windows 7, it is between 7 to 10. Yes. So it is showing that version of operating system also. What are the services VMware is running on my Windows machine? Then it is showing that these all services SSL, HTTP is also running on my machine. It is telling about the host name also. Wow, it is very good. This command has shown that the host name also it is showing of the victim machine. So it is showing that the host name of the victim machine is Amarendra, right? So in this way you can get the information about the machine. So this command is running. It is searching for common vulnerabilities. This command is meant for identifying the CVE. CVE is the common vulnerability enumeration, and they are the list of vulnerabilities which are being circulated in the public by different researchers, right? What are the common vulnerabilities? So it will search for common vulnerability in the target machine. So let it be, it is running. So move to the next command. So next command is, yes, this command is very useful, right? So what this command is saying that it is showing that I am going to scan the target machine, right? And I want to hide my IP address. Suppose I am an attacker, right? And I am going to run this Nmap on my office network or my school network, right? And the network administrator has installed a strong firewall which can detect this type of Nmap network scanning, and it is also recording the IP address of the scanner. So I will be convicted if they are able to locate my IP address, that from which IP address the attacker is scanning the network. Then definitely they are going to penalize me, right? So to hide my IP address, I can use this command. So this command is saying that Nmap, it will scan for complete services or ports, right? And D is stand for decoy, right? So it will decoy my the IP address, and it will show to the network administrator that a scan is being done from this IP address, right? So what I want, I want that the network administrator cannot able to locate my IP address. So what I will give information to the network administrator that my address is 10.0.0.1. Suppose I want to make the network administrator confused, right? If I want to confuse him, so I can write a number of IP addresses. So it will keep changing. Each time I am scanning, it will either give the source IP as a 10.0.1, 0.2, 0.4, right? So it will show the network administrator that is network scanning is being done from this IP address. So network administrator will not be able to identify the IP address of scanner or attacker. So it is very useful command, right? So similarly, some more command is there. You can practice it. This command is used for, you can say, to check for UDP port, right? If I want to check whether the UDP port is open on the network, sorry, this victim machine or not. So I will run this command SU. So what it is scanning? It is scanning for the UDP port. But because most of the scanning which I have done, you can show you can see that the most of the scanning, it is scanning for TCP connections only, right? So whatever the scanning I have done till now, most of the scan it is scanning for TCP services or which are running using TCP connection. But if I specifically want to check whether some UDP port is open or not, so that I can launch a voluminous attack or DDoS attack, right? So I can scan for UDP ports, right? So once once hacker will know that some UDP port is open, he can take the advantage of that port and he can launch the high volume DOS attack or DDoS attack, right? So sometimes network administrator are smart and they filtered this type of nmap commands, right? So suppose as a hacker, if I want to suppress the network administrator, suppose network administrator has made some changes in their firewall and they have restricted the this type of scanning, right? So what we can do as a hacker, we can suppress the power of you can say this network administrator by using this command. So it will also give the reason of why the particular query was filtered and nmap was not able to give the detail. It will also give the reasons, right? And if the reason or the reason is that network administrator has blocked this type of scanning, it will also suppress the power of network administrator and it will try to give the information about different ports, right? So yes, it has been completed. The earlier command which I have run, the common vulnerabilities enumeration command. This command I have run. It has taken such significant time, and after scan is completed, it has listed all the different type of vulnerabilities which are available. You can find here SQL injection is also available in the Metasploitable. Yes, it is available there. So entire list of common vulnerabilities has listed here. So it is very useful, and it is the extent of you can say banner grabbing. By performing this type of banner grabbing, you will be having complete idea of what are the services, what are the vulnerabilities which are available in the target machine. So now it is all about this banner grabbing. I have shown you different type of commands which can be used for gathering information sitting remotely by the attackers, right? So you can perform this nmap scanning using your any of the your Linux machine if you are having this nmap package installed in your machine, right? So now I'm stopping here.